One of the questions that seems to be coming up lately is that there's a decline in the bee population. And Brad, I'm told, is very knowledgeable on, although he denies it, I'm told he's very knowledgeable on the bee population. Brad, what is happening from your point of view?
Well, there is a significant problem out there. It's worldwide. It's no longer just confined to the United States or Europe. Iran just recently reported that they're having bee population problems there. And right now it's called colony collapse disease or colony collapse syndrome. The scientists and entomologists have yet to prove definitively what it is, but right now it's pretty much pointing to problems with certain insecticides and certain pesticides and things like that being somewhat the root cause and affecting the bee's immune system, and then there's certain types of funguses, things like that they're no longer immune to, that will get into the colony and affect the colony's behavior to the point where what happens, the bee's central nervous system is affected and their short-term memory. The bees will go out to gather honey, pretty much forget where they are, forget how to get back to the colony, and so the colony, when those bees don't come back, send out more bees. They keep sending bees out, otherwise they're going to starve. And so eventually the colony does collapse in its population. The fungus is indeed brought back into that hive, and there was a gentleman that tried some research where he had a hive that was affected with colony collapse. He put that top box on top of another unaffected hive, and very soon it was affected. So we know that it isn't just a behavioral type thing. It is a fungus, it is some sort of bacteria or something else like that that's yet to be identified, but we can pretty much get it pinpointed and centralized as to what it does, and it does decimate the bees. And that's actually very, very important, because over 60% of what we eat today as human beings is depending on bee pollination. And without that, it's not just the bees that are going to die out, it's eventually going to be mankind.
Not the lack of honey, it's the lack of other things.
The lack of darn near everything we eat, because they're depending on the pollination. So it's not just honey.
You mentioned that this is worldwide. What about New Mexico?
New Mexico has yet to be affected that we know of. We've got a pretty good network of beekeepers here, and no cases of colony collapse have been reported. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's not a beekeeper out there that we don't know about yet, but so far so good. Fortunately, my bees are actually doing very well this year, and I think we can attribute that to the fact that in New Mexico, beekeepers are very conscientious about where they put their hives, as far as asking if there's pesticides being sprayed, insecticides being sprayed, and we're very conscientious about that, and we avoid those types of areas.
There's nothing we can do as a general public.
Oh yes, sir, there sure is. It's an awareness thing, and it's pressure that can be brought to bear against companies like Monsanto, anyone else that makes these insecticides and pesticides, to make them and do more research to where they're bee friendly. Also, call your congressman, a senator, and anybody like that could bring pressure to bear against these companies that make these things, because it is affecting the bees. If it does continue, it's going to affect all mankind. So yeah, each individual can do something about this. We're not helpless.
Okay, Brad, thank you very much for bringing us more up to date on what is happening with the bee population.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you very much for the opportunity.